Can I start? Right. No, I need to start here now. ഇങ്ങനെ വരുമ്പോ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യണമെന്നുള്ളൂ. Right. Dear all, good morning to all. On behalf of the Kerala State Planning Board, Government of Kerala, I welcome our esteemed guests to the Kerala Looks Ahead conference. We are honored to have you here today in this session on local governments. Before we proceed to the session, I would like to draw kind attention of all participants towards certain guidelines to be followed in this online conference session. I request all participants to mute their audio while others are speaking. Participants are requested to address their queries through the chat box and use the discussion time to express their views or clarify their doubts. I also request speakers to strictly adhere to the scheduled time of their sessions. We look forward for an interesting session. We are going to formally begin our session. I now request Dr. Joy Ilaman, the Director of Kerala Institute of Local Administration, for delivering the welcome address.
Dignitaries and friends, good morning to all. Basically, 3 sessions, starting with the inaugural session at the moment, followed by the presentations by local governments, and then in the evening we have the decentralization and local governance session and a lengthier session later. While Kerala looks ahead, we also understand that we need to look back, see what has been achieved, our limitations, gaps, and learnings from these so that we move forward. Of course, all of you know, like its overall development path, Kerala has a checkered history of decentralization and local governance. Our engagement with this starts with our first Administrative Reforms Committee, headed by the then Chief Minister, Sri E.M.S. Namboodiripad, and later our experiments with the short-lived district councils, which was a much acclaimed district council system, which were again followed up post 73rd and 74th Amendment with the People's Plan campaign. And today we look back so that we can move forward. And here we have with us to give the opening remarks our Honorable Minister for Local Self-Governments, Mr. A.C. Moideen. On behalf of the organizers and the participants, all of you, I welcome Sri A.C. Moideen to this International Conclave on Local Governments. These sessions are moderated by none other than Professor K.N. Harilal, who already has a stint of around 10 years at the helm on decentralization within the State Planning Board, apart from his contribution to the decentralization and local governance process as an academician and activist. So I welcome Dr. K.N. Harilal, member Kerala State Planning Board, to this session, being a moderator. We start with the presentation on the 13th 5-year plan of governments, the highlights of that, and we have Ms. Josephine, the Chief of the Decentralized Planning Division of the Kerala State Planning Board. Welcome, Madam, to this conclave. And later, as part of the next session, the sub-session of this part, we have the presentations by the local governments. As you all know, we just had the elections to the local governments, and there are changes in all these local governments at the highest levels, but the continuity is, the development continuity is established. So start with Dr. Beena Philip, the Honorable Mayor of Kozhikode Corporation. We have Srimati Sita Ravindran, the President of Kundankulam, Chairperson of the Kundankulam Municipality. We have Srimati V. Ambli, the President of Nedamangad Block Panchayat. Sri P.P. Venugopalan, President of the Peravur Gram Panchayat from Kannur district. We have Srimati Mariamma Benny, President of the Mulamduruthi Gram Panchayat. Srimati P.P. Prasanna Kumari, President of the Pilikode Gram Panchayat. And their team, the past team and the present team, elected representatives as well as the officials with us. And in the final presentation, we have Dr. P.K. Jayasri and the colleagues from who is the Director of Panchayats at the Local Self-Government Department. Welcome all of you to this session. Finally, I welcome all the participants. All of you have joined together. I will call them those who really are the champions of decentralization and local governance. I welcome all of you. We have also our distinguished persons, experts, officials, and all of them in one sentence, on behalf of the participants, on behalf of the organizers, I welcome all of you to this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Joy Ilaman, for the welcome address. Now I invite Mr. A.C. Moizeen, our Honorable Minister for Local Self-Government Department, for his opening remarks.
Unmute your minister, please.
Sir, we cannot hear you.
Okay, I'll mute my phone.
Is unique and accepted world over. The challenge brought out by the People's Plan during these 25 years are visible in all walks of life. Local government have emerged as strong pillars of governance in the state. The second phase of People's Plan we began in 2017 as part of 13th five-year plan. During the last 4 years, through deliberate interventions, many positive changes were effected in decentralized planning mechanism. One of the major changes was the timely preparation of development plans and its implementation.
Sir, unmute cheyao. Sir.
To extend up to September, October every year. The local governments had to rush for completion of process before the end of financial year. But now a new set of guidelines were issued at the beginning of the 13th plan. The procedures were simplified and the plan formulation process expedited. Now the local governments are able to formulate their annual plans sufficiently early, and they can start implementation from the very first day of a financial year. Thus, higher utilization of funds is made possible. It is a constitutional mandate that the district plans are prepared by the district planning committees. This is another notable achievement in the 13th plan. Instructions are issued to the DPC for district-specific guidelines every year, so that the suggestions in the district plans are incorporated in the annual plans of local governments. In the wake of natural disasters in the state, all local bodies had prepared local disaster management plans to control the impact of natural disasters in the improve the disaster preparedness in future. This is the first of its kind experience in the country. During the last 5 years, local bodies have achieved many credits. More implementing officers provided, more special window for innovative programs, substantial increase in untied funds, unified cadre for LSG department, ISO certification for local governments, introduction of ILGMS, Integrated Local Governance Management System, and promotion of competitive tendering to prevent corruption, etc. The local governments played a key role in containing and tackling the COVID-19 pandemic. They undertook various activities from managing the community kitchens during lockdown to managing COVID FLTCs. The valuable work done by the local bodies have been hailed and globally. I am very glad to see that some of the best practices we have achieved during these 25 years decentralization are being showcased in this session. I hope this conference will discuss the challenges as well as the steps to taken for strengthening the local governments and deepening democratic decentralization. I am sure that government will benefit from the inputs that will come. I wish all the very best for this conference. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for your august presence here and giving us insights on how to take the local governance ahead and for helping the state for the timely preparation of development plans and also helping us to improve the quality of plan implementation in the state. Thank you very much, sir. Now I invite Dr. K.N. Hadlal, sir, for the session. As all of us know, he's a renowned personality, a leading economist, and an honorable member of Kerala State Planning Board, who gives proper guidance and expertise for local governance in Kerala. He's also the chairman of State Resource Group. Now I invite Dr. K.N. Hadlal to take over and moderate this session. Sir, please.
Honorable Minister for Local Governments, Sri A.C. Moidi, Dr. Joy Eleman, Director Kila, Josephine, Chief, Decentralization Division of the Planning Board, distinguished elected representatives of the local governments, and other distinguished participants of this seminar. In fact, this session is meant to provide space for presentations from local governments. And I'm sure that participants are very keenly waiting for the presentations from local governments. These presentations focus on innovative and model programs implemented by the local governments. As we all know, beauty of decentralized participatory democracy is innovativeness. A lot of new ideas come at the local level. Local governments are quite capable of collecting and developing traditional knowledge. They can also gather new knowledge from universities and research institutions, and they can innovate.
actually and fiscal deficit in countries at 3%. So this is a very major strain on any autonomous system that the state may have. While center is nobody to ensure and guidelines are met, states are being monitored and would have to pay a price they don't keep the target. There's asymmetry in the implementation of the FRBM system. Second is the introduction of GST, which has reduced the buoyancy of tax revenue. Further, it has curtailed the power of the state to raise additional resources, changing the tax rate. So if Kerala wants, people of Kerala want a higher social security and government expenditure, there is no way of financing it by raising the tax. Your fiscal autonomy that you want to might have it curtailed. There are recommendations of Finance Commission, particularly the most recent one. And results of which, conclusions of which we don't know yet. In fact, they have been placed in Parliament, but I don't know. I'm very pleased to know you are going to put conditions of public borrowing by the state. Whether Kerala share the taxes for the decline. How revenue gives the grant, how it will maintain, continue.
Yeah, streaming on stop you to start
you. Very clear. Despite the recommendations of the Finance
streaming means ഞാൻ ഇതാ പറയുന്നത് റിമീവന്റെ തന്നെ ലിങ്ക് സ്റ്റോപ്പ് ചെയ്ത് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യും.
Just for example, because the petroleum excise duty, it has been hike has been through additional excise and special excise.
പുതിയതല്ല, പഴയ കീസ് തന്നെ. നിങ്ങൾ പുതിയ കീ വേണം ഇപ്പൊ ചെയ്യാനാണ്.
Revenue additional revenue from mobilized to successful.
റിമീവന്റെ അത് പഴയതന്നെ സ്റ്റോപ്പ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യും.
People say the actual transfer of taxes is 42% and enjoyed by the Finance Commission, but almost 32%. And finally, there are a whole number of new legislations that have been passed by the central government, which are for constraining the policy autonomy of the states in education, agriculture, and so on. Every sector, the tendencies towards greater
as the approval system, the DPCs will approve the plan first, and then project appraisal was done. And due to this, the vetting officers got enough time to scrutinize the projects in detail and rectify the deficiencies. This has resulted in improving the quality of projects significantly. And in the coming years, we can wait for a better quality implementation of projects. And to materialize this, we gave vetting officers and we posted more vetting officers and implementing officers, especially in the construction. The quality.
Plans of the implementation and the progress.
One other important achievement during the 13th plan was that we laid more emphasis on the productive sector. From the beginning of the People's Plan itself, it was stipulated that a fixed percentage of normal share of general sector fund shall be set apart for productive sector. But in the 12th 5-year plan, this was done away with. And The experience of the first 4 years of the 12th plan was reviewed by the present government, and a decision was taken to restore the mandatory minimum allocation for productive sector. And now 30% of the funds of Gram Panchayats, block panchayats and district panchayats are going for the productive sector, and 10% of the urban local governments. This facilitated and encouraged the in taking up more projects in the productive sector. This is one of the significant achievements we have made in the 13th plan. Now, our special groups, that is the disabled, elderly, children, got more focus during the 13th plan. Now the local governments have to earmark 5% for the development of children, persons with disabilities and transgender, and another 5% for the welfare of the elderly and for the palliative care projects. And this is one of the remarkable achievement in the planning process. And all the sections are made inclusive in all the sections of the population. And all those sections which need more care are brought under the welfare projects, and they get protection from the part of the government. And now another major remarkable experience was that a notable change that we brought was that the scope of subsidies was broadened. And earlier there was a different set of subsidies for departments. The subsidy rates were different for departments. Another set of subsidies for local government. So these created a lot of issues in the development process, especially in implementing agricultural and other allied sector projects. So this problem was tackled for last year in the and all the subsidies were unified in accordance with the department schemes. So and not only that, the income ceiling, the income limit for animal husbandry, dairy, fisheries were raised, and for housing was raised for scheduled castes, and the income limit of the scheduled tribes for the scheduled tribes was done away with. And all these helped in a better implementation and more inclusive plan implementation in the state. And innovative programs were also supported in the 14th plan. Now, again, one more, as far as decentralization is concerned, people's engagement or people's participation in the plan process is more important. So in the 13th 5-year plan, we could enhance the people's participation, especially the expertise of the people of the local governments in the decision-making process. The important plan processes were assisted by a team of experts in the local governments. Planning committees were formed to ensure the help of the educated people in the local governments in plan preparation and implementation. The district planning, similar to the district planning committees in local governments, in every local government, planning committees were formed, and this also helped in effective plan formulation, effective monitoring, and effective implementation of the schemes. So there are now, in the local governments, there are now volunteers and experts to help the local government to help planning process. And also, in addition to this, a Grama Sabha portal was developed to receive the views of public, including expatriate Malayalis also. And this also helped the local governments to improve their plan formulation. And another major achievement which could be materialized was the district resource centers. And now there is a district resource centers to help the DPCs to prepare DPRs for the projects, to give technical advice, to scrutinize the projects. So the district resources centers are going to be a hub of knowledge, and that will definitely improve the quality of the plan formulation of local governments. Now, as I have mentioned earlier, now the fifth recommendations, the action taken report of the recommendations of the fifth State Finance Commission, that every year there will be a 0.5% increase in allocation to local governments. And we could materialize that decision of the State Finance Commission, and every year, all through these years of the 13th five-year plan, every year we could bring about an increase of 0.5% of increase in the development fund. And to ensure another remarkable achievement is that making audit of accounts also up to date. That is more important to ensure the accountability and transparency of the plan implementation. Performance grant that is suggested by the 13th Finance Commission. We could performance grant, we will have to submit for receiving the performance grant, they have to submit the audited accounts, and this also we could do in time. And all the more important was the preparation of disaster management plan. I think this is one of its kind in the world itself. Every local government has prepared a disaster management plan. Now they are integrating this disaster management plan in their local government plans. In the coming year, they are going to integrate the disaster management plan in their local government plans budget. Okay. Now, another important remarkable achievement was decentralization round survey. As the NSS round survey, series of survey is started during this year, and we have finalized the decentralization round survey. We are in the finalization stage, and I think this will give us an insight into what has been done during the term of each local governments, and this is really important to frame projects ahead. So this has been done with the help of the Directorate of Economics and Statistics, and this is going to be a series of survey right from this year onwards, and we will update the data collection every year. This is also a good, remarkable achievement of the 13th five-year plan. And regarding the quality of service of the local governments and the good governance initiatives, I should mention that there is the importance of common service for the local self-government department. Now the integrated local self-government department has been formed by integrating all the officers, institutions, officers, and for a better service delivery system and to strengthen the local government system. So this also we could materialize during this 13th plan period. The existing departments of panchayats, urban affairs, rural development, town planning, and engineering departments will come under the new umbrella of this integrated local self-government department. Now, another achievement is that integrated local governance management system under the aegis of IKM. Now, a comprehensive software developed by IKM, and it is deployed across 200 Grama Panchayats to ensure greater transparency, accountability, accuracy, punctuality, and technical supervision in providing various services to the citizens. This is also a remarkable achievement. And also the local governments have been raised to ISO standards. And this is what the planning board's approach paper has mentioned that we'll take the local governments to ISO standards. The approach paper for the 13th plan states that all local governments of Kerala would be raised at par to the ISO standards, and we could materialize this in 941 Grama Panchayats in Kerala. Out of the 941 Grama Panchayats of Kerala, we could do this into 939 Grama Panchayats and all block panchayats. Now we are aiming to give certificates for corporations and municipalities and district panchayats, and they are expected to complete this current financial year itself. So the quality of service delivery has been increased, and the officers had become people friendly in all respects. Now we cannot go without mentioning the floods and how the local governments have served the people during the floods. All the machinery in the local self-government, Grama Panchayats, municipal corporation, everywhere there was people's participation in tackling rehabilitating the people from the flood hazards, and the local governments could manage the things well and giving timely rehabilitation to the people. And also they have gone for, as I've mentioned earlier, they have gone for a disaster management plan in the local governments also. And we cannot explain in words what they have done during the flood and during the natural disasters as well as the COVID pandemic. So all these shows that in every situation, whatever situation of arises in the state, they can manage it well. COVID, they had done a lot of things. They provided accommodation for the guest workers, cleaning and disinfection activities, break the chain campaigns were done successfully. They arranged for COVID first line treatment centers, and every machinery of the local governments was there for mitigating the COVID pandemic and also containing the disease. What we could achieve in COVID mitigation is because of the local self-governments. We should speak that loudly to the public, because I take this occasion to appreciate all the officers and the people's representatives who are in the local governments for saving the state from this pandemic and reducing the mortality in the state. And I use this occasion to say that loudly here. And in Subiksha Keralam is another innovative project we have taken up in the wake of COVID, because the state government was depending on other states for our vegetables and food grains and everything. But that has made the state more vulnerable also. So raising to the occasion, the government took a drastic step towards increasing the production and productivity of food grains and vegetables and other food items in the state itself, and that has shown result. And I think the local governments have set apart 1,000 crore from their development funds to the success of this program, and this has saved the state from a food scarcity. And this is one of the remarkable achievement of the local governments. And fallow lands, all the fallow lands were brought under cultivation, and base prices were given fixed for 16 vegetable crops, which is produced in Kerala. And
you may have to conclude now.
Okay, sir, I am going to conclude. And now we are going, I should mention that in the Mission Antyodaya survey also, the state has obtained the first position. And to sum up, I should say that the local governments now had become strong institutions of governance in the state. Decentralized planning process with 25 years of experience has made development an inclusive and participatory process, and the experiences of the last 25 years are also a lesson to be learned in terms of achievements, in terms of gaps and the corrective measures required to strengthen the process. And Kerala, far ahead of other states in the participatory planning process, aims to further deepen, further strengthen and further expand it so as to ensure development to all sections of the society. With this I conclude. Thank you all for listening me. Thank you.
Thank you, Josephine, for the brief but very useful presentation. Now, before I hand over to Dr. Joy and the KILA team for arranging the presentations from the local governments. I will add one or two sentences to what Josephine has just now mentioned. See, we have this saying, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. That proof of good performance of the local governments came from the recently held elections. I am not speaking about the political color of the verdict, but the voter turnout during the COVID infection was quite high, remarkable. Nobody expected that people would come out for registering their votes in such huge numbers. Then, of course, there is another aspect which should be noted. See, the incumbency factor, if you analyze, it has turned out to be positive. The election verdict was overwhelmingly in favor of the incumbent. The political front, which was controlling the local government, generally they were returned by the electorate. The LDF local governments in many areas, they had a majority and they came back in most places. Similarly, this is something which will have to be studied in detail. The opposition front, wherever they ruled, they were controlling local governments. They also came back to power in large numbers. The probability of the incumbent coming back to power has become very high. This shows how the local governments were doing well and how they were catering to the requirements of the people. And I think the changes that we have made during the 13 plan had made this possible. Earlier, as Josephine was mentioning, the whole process, though it was very innovative, democratic and all, it had many problems because of the cumbersome, complicated nature of procedures. Planning was made meaningless because plan was made during the year and toward the end of the year, and the local bodies hardly had any time for implementation. This joke was continuing for a long period of time. And anybody who was serious about planning and implementation would note this. And from there onwards, we have made many corrections because when we started the 13 plan, the changes were made on the basis of large number of studies on Kerala local governments by research scholars from outside, from researchers from inside. Apart from that, there were a lot of participatory discussions in Kerala. And we have tried.
And in one form or other form is going to get into the policy of the Kerala state, which is going to drive the growth forward for the next 5 years. So on behalf of the team who have been working behind, and also on my personal behalf, I wanted to wholeheartedly and warmly welcome the panel guests to this function and hope that we will have a very, very interesting session ahead. Before I move ahead, I just wanted help from the engineering team. I think we have got Nivriti Rai joining in. We need to give her a co-host access. So request the organizers to kindly help us with providing that. And I think Ms. Rai's office also has joined. So there is one officer named Siddharth who is joined in. So Mr. Siddharth is going to project the presentation of Ms. Rai is what I understand. So if you could kindly grant the access there, that would be great. Once the access is given, request Ms. Rai to also switch on the video so that we can see you. Likewise, we also request, I could see Sri Shiblal sir on the video. I request Mr. Srikanth to be on the video. I request Mr. Nandakumar to be on the video. And I request Mr. Prahlad to be on the video. And I know Zoom meetings are always a bit of a challenge because accidentally we may switch on our audio or video. May I request all the esteemed participants to kindly be cautious on that, completely be on mute on both on video as well as audio. And of course, please start posing in your questions as we progress so that I can pick it up from the chat. I have access to the chat, and according to the availability of time, we will definitely request the panel members to respond to your specific questions. By the way, I also understand that there are industry captains and leaders of the various domains have also joined in. So outside of questions, if you have wanted to also make some observations about the specific points that being deliberated, please feel free to do so. We will capture that, and that will be shared to the State Planning Board as well. So with that, I hope I can move ahead with the session. Shalini, am I okay to go ahead?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay. In the meantime, I'm hoping that Ms. Rai's connections have been established. I couldn't see her still live. So may I request, the identity is N. Rai, that is Ms. Nurpati Rai, and SID, so that is Mr. Sid. So requesting. Okay. Thank you. Outside of the agenda that has been published, I would also request a small variation into it because we don't have the participation from the guest from CMD, from BEL. The CMD was unfortunately not able to make, so we are making some slight change to that. And also Ms. Rai, who have been kind enough to come in, but is stuck for another major government discussion. I know it is second day after the budget, so even with that, I think she has agreed to come in and spare time. So I may have to request Ms. Rai to be ready for the session slightly ahead of time so that we can hear you out completely. So firstly, I had the honor of inviting Sri S.D. Shibilal. I know it is completely unfair on me to introduce all these experienced business leaders in a short time, but I don't have another opportunity, but I'm making a very short introduction of all the experts who are joining in. Kindly bear with me. Sri S.D. Shibilal is one of the 7 co-founders of Infosys and one of India's best startup accelerator called Accel Ventures. Mr. Shibilal is a Kerala-born business leader who made it global arena on the information and technology domain. He was the managing director and CEO for Infosys, and during his time, very interestingly, he coined the term Infosys 3.0, which was a very transformative initiative within the Infosys domain and the ICT domain at that point in time, which was very successfully done. Mr. Shibilal is also a member of board of trustees of many organizations, including the Boston University, University of Seoul International Business Advisory Council, Leadership Council for World Economic Forum, and so on and so forth. I am personally privileged because Sri Shibilal was also our former chairman for ICT Academy of Kerala. His basic graduation was in Kerala, but he did his post-graduation in Boston University and started his career in Patni Systems before co-founding Infosys in 1981. So, Sri Shibilal, welcoming you to this forum. As we have indicated to you, you come with a global experience and the experience of bringing in what you call the most looked after company for all the youngsters during our time was Infosys. So we would like to keenly listen to you about what are the global trends that are happening right now, and from that trend, what do you derive as the opportunity for Kerala, which can perhaps go into the policy level and also as government intervention. So over to you, sir.
So good morning, everyone. Honorable Chief Minister, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure for me to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Also, my special thanks to the Planning Board for organizing such a conference with eminent personalities and looking forward. In fact, sometimes it is hard to look forward during troubling times, but I'm glad that Kerala and the planning board is actually looking forward even during this tough time. Last year has been very difficult for all of us. In fact, none of us probably imagined that we will see a period in our life where everything comes to standstill, almost come to standstill for such a long period of time. Interestingly enough, one industry which has moved forward, one area which has moved forward during this very tough time is the IT services, IT industry. Once COVID started, the demand on digital technologies, the demand on IT services, in fact, went up dramatically. Many things which were totally unacceptable in any kind of digital form. For example, you cannot imagine having this conference in this form on Zoom 12 months back. I remember my foundation runs a school. In fact, 2 weeks before the lockdown, the teachers unanimously told me that it would be impossible to conduct classes on digital, especially for small children. Once the event started, once COVID started, the Axelor, in fact, has invested in about 100 startups, maybe close to 100 startups. Their revenue dropped below 30% of their COVID levels. Interesting enough, today that number is 90%. So the revenues have gone back to 90% of where it was before pre-COVID. And most of the startups are startups which use digital technologies. In fact, many of them re-architected themselves to be relevant to this new world order. So one thing COVID has done is to open up areas which were completely closed before for digital technologies. Whether it is in healthcare, I don't think anyone on this conference would have done a digital consultation before COVID. Or whether it is in education, whether it is in health, whether it is in transportation, whether it is in daily life. I think digital technologies has taken up a much more important part than what it was pre-COVID. When I look at the global arena, I see 3 different changes which comes to my mind. There are a number of changes which are happening, but I'm going to focus on 3 things which I believe will be relevant for predominantly for the IT industry.
If the service is not resumed within 24 hours. Number 3, there should be a guaranteed energy saving for 54% from the conversion of conventional lights to the LED lights. It is quite evident that this project can enhance the visibility and safety and help reduce the electricity consumption and costs, free up resources for other pressing needs, and ensuring a high-quality street lighting as expected by the citizens and their quality of life. And to conclude, this will serve as a model and better solution to the other cities as well.
And I do congratulate the workers who have been working all along, the KSEB, as well as the KIONIC, which is the acronym for that Karnataka State Corporation, which is a public sector organization. And I do wish that the people of Calicut will be enjoying more light, more number of light, and the consumption of electricity will be less. I wish all success for this project, and it is a model for other corporations or municipal states or other states that can follow.
Thank you, Dr. Bina Philip and the team from Kozhikode Municipal Corporation. As you all know, waste management is one of the mandatory functions of the local governments. And here we have an experiment or an initiative from Kunnamkulam Municipality, Thrissur District. I invite Srimati Sita Ravindran and team Sridhar Ravindran is the chairperson of the municipality, and over to Kundangulam municipality.
കുന്നംകുളം നഗരസഭ രൂപീകരിച്ചത്. അന്നു മുതൽ നഗരസഭയുടെ എല്ലാ മാലിന്യങ്ങളും കുറുക്കമ്പാറയിലെ ട്രഞ്ചിങ് ഗ്രൗണ്ടിൽ 5 ഏക്കർ വരുന്ന ആ പ്രദേശത്താണ് നിക്ഷേപിച്ചിരുന്നത്. പിന്നീട് നഗരം വികസിച്ചു, നഗര മാലിന്യങ്ങളും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ വ്യാവസായിക മാലിന്യങ്ങളും വർദ്ധിച്ചു. ഇതിന്റെ ഭാഗമായി ഈ പ്രദേശത്തെല്ലാം വലിയ വലിയ മാലിന്യ കൂനകൾ തന്നെ ഉയർന്നു വന്നു. ഒരുപാട് ജനകീയ പ്രക്ഷോഭങ്ങളും ഇതിന്റെ ഭാഗമായിട്ടുണ്ടായിട്ടുണ്ട്. പക്ഷെ പല പ്രാവശ്യവും അവിടെ മാലിന്യം സംസ്കരിക്കുന്നതിന് വേണ്ടിയുള്ള ഒരുപാട് പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങൾ നടത്തി. പക്ഷെ അതൊന്നും വിജയകരമായില്ല. 2016 ഒക്ടോബറിലാണ് ആദ്യമായിട്ട് അവിടെ ജനങ്ങളെ ബോധ്യപ്പെടുത്തിക്കൊണ്ട് തന്നെ ആദ്യം 1 ടൺ മാലിന്യം അവിടെ വളമാക്കി മാറ്റി അവരെ ബോധ്യപ്പെടുത്തി അവർ തന്നെ സമ്മതിച്ച് അംഗീകരിച്ചതിന് ശേഷമാണ് അവിടെ മാലിന്യം വളമാക്കി മാറ്റുന്ന ഒരു പ്രക്രിയയിലേക്ക് മാറിയത്. അത് IRTCയുടെ നല്ല ഇടപെടലിന്റെ ഭാഗമായിട്ടാണ്. അത് വലിയ ഒരു വിജയമായി മാറുകയും ചെയ്തു. ഇന്ന് നമ്മൾ കാണുന്ന ഈ ജൈവവള സംവിധാനം അവിടെ ഒരുക്കാൻ സാധിച്ചത് ഇതിന്റെ ഫലമായിട്ടാണ്.
Kunnamkulam municipality in Thrissur district stretches in an area of 34.18 square kilometers with a population of 54,071. Since the formation of the municipality, the trenching ground is Kurukkanpara, which is at 2 kilometers from the town center. In the early days, the trench was filled with human excreta, but over the time, the ground was piled up with organic and inorganic urban waste. This decades-long waste management issue is solved by the municipality in 4 years through proper planning and implementation of projects. It is estimated that 4.5 tons of bio-waste is generated daily by 3,062 establishments and 12.17 tons by 13,588 households within the municipality. The waste from the establishments is sent to the centralized plant and biodigestible bins have been distributed in all schools and offices. Biodigesting bins have been made available at subsidized rates for the treatment of household waste.
മാലിന്യ സംസ്കരണ രംഗത്ത് ഞങ്ങൾ നേരിട്ട മറ്റൊരു പ്രധാന വെല്ലുവിളിയായിരുന്നു കൃത്യസമയത്ത് ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് ചകിരിച്ചോറ് ലഭ്യമാകാത്തത്. പൊള്ളാച്ചിയിൽ നിന്നാണ് കൊണ്ടുവന്നിരുന്നത്. അത് ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇവിടെ തന്നെ ചകിരി സംസ്കരണ യൂണിറ്റ് ആരംഭിക്കാൻ സാധിച്ചു. അതിന്റെ ഭാഗമായി ഈ ജൈവവളം നിർമ്മിക്കുന്നതിന് ആവശ്യമായ മീഡിയ, ചകിരിച്ചോറും ഇനോക്കുലവും കൂടിയിട്ടുള്ള മീഡിയ ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് തന്നെ തയ്യാറാക്കാൻ സാധിച്ചു. 150 രൂപയ്ക്കാണ് മുൻപ് ഹരിതകർമ്മസേന വഴി വീടുകളിൽ എത്തിച്ചിരുന്നത്. ഇപ്പൊ ഞങ്ങൾക്കത് 100 രൂപയ്ക്ക് ആളുകൾക്ക് ലഭ്യമാകുന്ന ഒരു അവസ്ഥയുണ്ടായി.
Currently, 30% of household waste is treated at source. Thus, out of the total 16.67 tons of bio-waste of the corporation, 22% is treated by the corporation through centralized waste treatment plant and 24% by decentralized systems. The aerobic composting method, which treats bio-waste with the help of coir pith and inoculum, is implemented here with the help of Integrated Rural Technology Center or IRTC Palakkad. This is done on the basis that the microorganisms decompose the organic matter in the aerobic condition and add it to the soil. One of the major factors hindering this activity of microorganisms is the moisture in the waste heaps. The stagnant water eliminates the aerobic condition and causes the waste to decompose. The coir pith absorbs this water and then evaporates it. This inoculum is full of bacteria and fungi that work in different conditions and speed up composting. The success of this treatment system is due to the fact that it provides the right conditions for the functioning of microorganisms. The waste collected from various institutions in the city is collected by 2 Kudumbashree groups, Aishwarya and Sevana. The waste is then sent to the plant at Kurukkanpara. Samata, a group of 6 local women, compose the waste. The waste is mechanically cut into small pieces and added to the coir pith and inoculum. The machine is used to increase the working surface area for microorganisms. These wastes accumulate in small piles having dimensions 60 centimeters wide and 1 meter tall mounds to ensure ventilation. After 10 days, these mounds are dismantled, turned over again and sprinkled with water. The compost is collected after the 30th day, filtered, packed and sold as required. The fertilizer is sold to the farmers in the municipality at the rate of ₹12 per kilogram. Prior to the commercial sale of fertilizer, the testing of fertilizer was carried out at the University of Agriculture and Karnataka Horticulture to ensure the quality. Last year, it was able to produce 400 tons of manure. Of this, 174 tons were sold. In addition to compost manure, micronutrients like Trichoderma, fluorescent Pseudomonas, and VAM are added in the fertilizer. 2 kilograms of micromanure is added to 1 ton of manure. Last year, fertilizer was sold at a cost of rupees 1,39,200. It is sold in 40 kilogram bags. It costs 19.5 per sack. Of this, rupees 84,825 was spent.
പിന്നീട് ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് നേരിടേണ്ടി വന്ന വലിയൊരു പ്രശ്നമായിരുന്നു കോഴി വേസ്റ്റ്. സമീപത്തുള്ള കുളങ്ങളിലും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ തോടുകളിലെല്ലാം കോഴി മാലിന്യം പൊങ്ങി വരുന്ന ഒരു അവസ്ഥ കണ്ടു. പക്ഷെ അത് അവിടുത്തെ ജനങ്ങൾ തന്നെ അതിന് തയ്യാറായിക്കൊണ്ട് നഗരസഭയെ സമീപിക്കുകയാണ് ഉണ്ടായത്. അപ്പൊ അതിന്റെ ഭാഗമായി IRTCയുമായി ചർച്ച ചെയ്തു. ആ ചർച്ച ചെയ്തതിന്റെ അടിസ്ഥാനത്തിൽ അത് വിജയകരമായി നടപ്പാക്കാൻ സാധിക്കും എന്ന് ബോധ്യപ്പെട്ടതിന്റെ അടിസ്ഥാനത്തിൽ 2019 ജൂലൈ 1 ഞങ്ങൾ കോഴി മാലിന്യ സംസ്കരണം അവിടെ വളമാക്കി മാറ്റുന്ന ഒരു സംവിധാനം ആരംഭിച്ചു.
Kunnamkulam municipality has spent rupees 57.5 lakh on various stages to make the Kurkanpara plant operational. The municipality charges rupees 5 per kilogram for poultry traders for collecting the poultry waste. Garbage collecting groups charge a fee from institutions, and through this 10 Kudumbashree workers are getting an income of around rupees 10,000 per month. Apart from financial assistance from the local body, all other responsibilities for waste management are carried out by the ME group Samata of Kudumbashree workers. The wages at the rate of rupees 550 per day for a group of 6 persons is rupees 11,88,000 a year. The cost of coir powder is 7.12 lakhs per year and the cost of the inoculum is 5.18 lakhs per year. Since it deals with waste, machine parts need to be repaired at regular intervals. Faults in the waste collection may also cause damage to the machine parts. An average of rupees 50,000 per annum is set aside for operation and maintenance of the machines, and total annual electricity bill is only rupees 13,560. Other operational charges includes the buying of uniforms and the necessary safety equipments. Also, used gloves, boots, shoes, and masks are replaced at regular intervals. All these cost to rupees 20,000 per year. In addition, rupees 15,000 is spent on other expenses like tools, sack needles, etc., and rupees 4,500 a year on health insurance. Thus, the total cost for operation and maintenance add up to rupees 27.46 lakhs. About 400 tons of manure is produced annually as part of these activities. Of that, 174 tons of fertilizer was sold last year. It is being sold within the municipality at rupees 12 per kilogram, collecting 20.88 lakhs through this. IRTC contributes 6 lakh per annum to Samata. An additional rupees 2,16,000 paid directly by the corporation brings the total revenue to rupees 29.04 lakhs. Through this, a balance of rupees 1,57,715 is received. Currently, Harita Karmasena is collecting inorganic materials from 9,064 households and collects from 3,000 stores in the city. The service charges of rupees 3,41,845 per month was rupees 1,81,624 for plastic and rupees 29,000 for paper and frame. Through this, 58 people get permanent employment. A pelletizing unit has also been set up to recycle plastic. Through this, a turnover of rupees 1.15 lakh has been achieved till date.
എൻ്റെ മാലിന്യം എൻ്റെ ഉത്തരവാദിത്വം എന്ന ആ ലക്ഷ്യത്തിലേക്ക് ജനങ്ങളെ ബോധവൽക്കരിക്കുന്നതിനും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ അവർ മാലിന്യം വലിച്ചെറിയാതെയും മാലിന്യം കത്തിക്കാതെയും ഇരിക്കുന്നതിനുള്ള നല്ല ഇടപെടൽ നഗരസഭയുടെ ഭാഗത്തു നിന്നും ഉണ്ടായി. അത് മാത്രമല്ല, മാലിന്യം വലിച്ചെറിയുന്നവർക്ക് നല്ല ഫൈൻ ഈടാക്കിക്കൊണ്ടും അവരുടെ ആ രീതിയെ മാറ്റിക്കൊണ്ടുവരാൻ സാധിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്.
For the municipality to reduce plastic sales and its disposal over the past 1 year, shops were fined rupees 2,57,000 for selling banned plastic bags. At the same time, through Harita Karma Sena and Kudumbashri, the production and promotion of cloth bags was intensified. Over the past 4 years, the waste landfill trenching ground has been transformed into a green park, the city's comprehensive Sustainable Development Intervention Center, Testing Center and Workshop. Green Park is moving forward with an emphasis on bioproduction instead of bio-waste treatment and on its recycling through scientific segregation rather than the collection of bio-waste. Today, Green Park has become an institution where students from nearby schools and researchers from foreign universities come to study. With the support and assistance provided by IRTC and other government agencies, Green Park is constantly evolving and moving forward.
മാലിന്യ സംസ്കരണത്തിലെ നിരന്തരമായ ഗവേഷണങ്ങളും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ സാങ്കേതിക സപ്പോർട്ടും അനിവാര്യമാണ്. ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് IRTCയുടെ സാങ്കേതികമായിട്ടുള്ള സപ്പോർട്ട് ഉള്ളതുകൊണ്ട് ഞങ്ങൾ കൃത്യമായി ഓരോ ഘട്ടങ്ങളിലും പുതിയ പുതിയ മാറ്റങ്ങൾ വരുത്തിക്കൊണ്ടാണ് മുന്നോട്ട് പോകുന്നത്.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, the team from Kundankulam Municipality. And now we move on to Nedumangad Block Panchayat in Trivandrum District. We have Srimati V. Ambali, the present president of the Block Panchayat, and they are actually working on organic farming, and it's done by under the leadership of a Block Panchayat. Over to Nedumangad Block Panchayat.
തദ്ദേശ സ്വയംഭരണ സ്ഥാപനങ്ങളുടെ ഉത്തരവാദിത്വങ്ങൾ തിരിച്ചറിഞ്ഞ് സുസ്ഥിര വികസനത്തിനും സ്വയം പര്യാപ്ത സമൂഹത്തിനും വേണ്ടി നിലകൊള്ളുകയാണ് നെടുമങ്ങാട് ബ്ലോക്ക് പഞ്ചായത്ത്. നവകേരള മിഷന്റെ ഭാഗമായി ആവിഷ്കരിച്ചു നടപ്പാക്കിയ വിവിധ പദ്ധതികൾ നെടുമങ്ങാട് ബ്ലോക്ക് പഞ്ചായത്തിനെ മികവുറ്റ പഞ്ചായത്താക്കി മാറ്റിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. അതിൽ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട ഒന്നാണ് ജൈവഗ്രാമം എന്ന പദ്ധതി. മണ്ണിന്റെയും മനുഷ്യന്റെയും ആയുസ്സിനായി എന്ന സന്ദേശം ഉയർത്തിക്കൊണ്ടാണ് നെടുമങ്ങാട് ബ്ലോക്ക് പഞ്ചായത്തിന്റെ നേതൃത്വത്തിൽ ജൈവഗ്രാമ പദ്ധതി ആവിഷ്കരിച്ച് നടപ്പാക്കിയത്. ബ്ലോക്ക് പഞ്ചായത്ത് ഓഫീസിനോട് ചേർന്നുള്ള 3 ഏക്കർ തരിശുഭൂമിയിൽ 2016 ജനുവരി 19 ജൈവഗ്രാമമാക്കി മാറ്റാനുള്ള പ്രവർത്തനം ആരംഭിച്ചത്. 2017 അത് ചാരിറ്റബിൾ ആക്ട് അനുസരിച്ച് ബ്ലോക്ക് പഞ്ചായത്തിന്റെ അധീനതയിൽ രജിസ്റ്റർ ചെയ്ത് പ്രവർത്തനം ആരംഭിച്ചു. സംയോജിത ജൈവകൃഷി പദ്ധതിയിലൂടെ ജൈവകൃഷി ഏറെ ലാഭകരമാക്കാമെന്ന് ജൈവഗ്രാമത്തിന് തെളിയിക്കാനായി. തുടർച്ചയായി ഈ സ്ഥാപനത്തെ ലാഭത്തിലേക്ക് നയിക്കാൻ ബ്ലോക്ക് പഞ്ചായത്തിന് സാധിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. നല്ല ഗുണമേന്മയുള്ള പച്ചക്കറി തൈകൾ മിതമായ നിരക്കിൽ വിതരണം ചെയ്യുക വഴി ഏറെ ലാഭത്തിലേക്ക് ജൈവഗ്രാമം എത്തിച്ചേർന്നു. ഒരു വർഷത്തിനകം 1000 മുട്ടക്കോഴികളെ ജൈവഗ്രാമത്തിന്റെ ലാഭവിഹിതം എടുത്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് അതിന്റെ യൂണിറ്റ് ആരംഭിച്ചത്. അവയ്ക്ക് ആവശ്യമായ ഷെഡും നിർമ്മിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് കഴിഞ്ഞത്. 2018 മഹാപ്രളയകാലത്ത് മുഖ്യമന്ത്രിയുടെ ദുരിതാശ്വാസ നിധിയിലേക്ക് ബ്ലോക്ക് പഞ്ചായത്തിന് 1 ലക്ഷം രൂപ സഹായം നൽകാൻ സാധിച്ചത് ജൈവഗ്രാമത്തിന്റെ ലാഭവിഹിതം എടുത്തുകൊണ്ടാണ്. മലയോര കർഷക ഗ്രാമമായ നെടുമങ്ങാട് ബ്ലോക്ക് പഞ്ചായത്തിലെ സാധാരണക്കാരായ കർഷകർക്ക് ആട് വളർത്തലിനോടാണ് ഏറെ താല്പര്യം. എന്നാൽ നല്ല ഇനം ആടുകളെ മിതമായ നിരക്കിൽ ലഭ്യമല്ലാത്തൊരു സാഹചര്യം ഇന്നും നെടുമങ്ങാട് നിലനിൽക്കുന്നതിനാൽ അതിനൊരു പരിഹാരമായിട്ടാണ് ആട് പ്രജനന യൂണിറ്റ് നെടുമങ്ങാട്ട് ബ്ലോക്ക് പഞ്ചായത്തിലെ ജൈവഗ്രാമത്തിൽ ആരംഭിച്ചത്. അടുത്ത 1 വർഷക്കാലത്തിനുള്ളിൽ നല്ല ഇനം ആടുകളെ കർഷകർക്ക് മിതമായ നിരക്കിൽ വിതരണം ചെയ്യാൻ സാധിക്കുമെന്നാണ് ഞങ്ങൾ പ്രതീക്ഷിക്കുന്നത്. അവിടെ 17 ജീവനക്കാർ ഇപ്പോഴും പണി ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. 365 ദിവസം തുടർച്ചയായി അവർ പണി ചെയ്യുകയാണ്. കൂടാതെ 80 തൊഴിലാളികൾ 150 ദിവസം അവർക്ക് ഒരു വർഷത്തിൽ പണി ലഭിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. ഇവരുടെ വേതനം നൽകുന്നത് ജൈവഗ്രാമത്തിന്റെ ലാഭവിഹിതത്തിൽ നിന്നാണ്. 50 ലക്ഷത്തിലധികം രൂപയുടെ ആസ്തി സൃഷ്ടിക്കാൻ ജൈവഗ്രാമത്തിന് സാധിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. 1000 മുട്ടക്കോഴി കൂടാതെ അവയ്ക്ക് ആവശ്യമായ ഷെഡ്, ആട്, താറാവ്, മീൻ തുടങ്ങിയവയുടെ പ്രജനന യൂണിറ്റും ജൈവഗ്രാമത്തിൽ ആരംഭിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. സമൃദ്ധി എന്ന പേരിലാണ് ബ്ലോക്ക് പഞ്ചായത്തിന്റെ പദ്ധതികളെ അറിയപ്പെടുന്നത്. ആ പേര് തീർത്തും അന്വർത്ഥമാക്കുന്ന തരത്തിൽ തുടർന്നും വിവിധ പദ്ധതികൾ ആവിഷ്കരിച്ച് കൂടുതൽ കരുത്തോടു കൂടി മുന്നോട്ട് പോകാനാണ് ബ്ലോക്ക് പഞ്ചായത്ത് ഭരണസമിതി.
There is an argument that block panchayats, which form the middle tier in the 3-tier system of the Panchayati Raj institution in Kerala, has little role in developmental activities, especially in productive sectors. There is an equally strong argument that organic farming is both unviable and impractical. If you believe in any of these arguments, you are welcome to Nedumangad Block Panchayat. You will realize the different areas in which a block panchayat in Kerala can create wonders and how the organic agricultural revolution that was started in 2015 is still going on successfully.
മണ്ണിൻ്റെയും മനുഷ്യൻ്റെയും ആയുസ്സിനായി എന്ന തലവാചകത്തോടെ കഴിഞ്ഞ 55 മാസം വ്യത്യസ്തമായ പദ്ധതികളാണ് ജൈവ കാർഷിക മേഖലയിൽ നെടുമങ്ങാട് ബ്ലോക്ക് പഞ്ചായത്ത് ആവിഷ്കരിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളത്. ആവിഷ്കരിക്കുക മാത്രമല്ല, അത് വിജയകരമായി പരിസമാപ്തിയിലേക്ക് കൊണ്ടെത്തിക്കാനും സാമൂഹ്യ അവലോകനത്തിലൂടെ മികവുറ്റ പദ്ധതികളെന്നുള്ള അംഗീകാരം നേടുവാനും കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്.
The organic agricultural revolution in Nedumangad Block Panchayat started in 2015 with a capital of 4.25 lakh rupees collected by and from the officials and elected representatives of the Block Panchayat office. The first step was to prepare 3 acres of land, which was unutilized land filled with overgrown bushes and an open dump yard for waste. In the initial stages, the elected representatives and officials, along with their family members, started vegetable cultivation on a small scale in this land. A group of local public also joined hands with them. When the Block Panchayat paid back the 4.25 lakh rupees invested initially by the officials and elected members, it was a befitting answer to those who claimed that organic farming could not be profitable. The organic vegetable farming started then has been successfully going on till date. As the next step, the Block Panchayat initiated an organic farming service and training center in 2017. 389 organic groups with 10 members in each group have already completed training from the training center. Along with training, inputs are also being supplied by the center. The success of this people's movement is evident from the fact that these trained groups have been doing vegetable farming in about 100 acres of leased land. Inputs like seedlings and organic pesticides are also being supplied by the training center at a cheaper rate than the state's government suggested rates.
ജൈവഗ്രാമം എന്നുള്ളത് ജനപ്രതിനിധികളുടെയും ജീവനക്കാരുടെയും ബ്ലോക്കിലെ കൂട്ടായ പ്രവർത്തനത്തിന്റെ ഉൽപ്പന്നമാണ്. തുടർച്ചയായി ലാഭത്തിൽ ജൈവ കൃഷിയെ കൊണ്ടുപോകാമെന്ന് തെളിയിക്കാൻ ഈ തദ്ദേശ സ്വയംഭരണ സ്ഥാപനത്തിന് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. സംയോജിത ജൈവ കൃഷിയിലൂടെ ജൈവ കൃഷി ലാഭമാക്കാം എന്ന സന്ദേശം നാട് മുഴുവൻ എത്തിക്കുന്നതിന് വേണ്ടിയുള്ള ജൈവ കൃഷി പരിശീലന സേവന കേന്ദ്രം ചാരിറ്റബിൾ സൊസൈറ്റീസ് ആക്ട് അനുസരിച്ച് ബ്ലോക്ക് പഞ്ചായത്തിന്റെ ജൈവഗ്രാമത്തിൽ രജിസ്റ്റർ ചെയ്ത് ഇന്ന് പ്രവർത്തിച്ചു വരികയാണ്. അങ്കണവാടി കുട്ടികൾ മുതൽ മുതിർന്നവരിലേക്ക് ഇതിന്റെ ജൈവ കൃഷിയുടെ അവബോധം സൃഷ്ടിക്കാൻ ഞാൻ കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്.
Nedumangad Jaiva Gramam the Nedumangad Organic Village is the first and only one of its kind in the states promoted by a local self-government institution. The center itself provides jobs for 17 laborers directly and for more than 70 people indirectly. The fact that this initiative of Nedumangad Block Panchayat was chiefly instrumental in creating a new culture of agriculture is worth mentioning. The venture got a profit of more than 15 lakh rupees in the year 2018-19. When half of Kerala lay submerged during the floods of 2018, Nedumangad Block Panchayat extended its helping hand with free supply of 3,000 kilograms of organic vegetables to the relief camps in Chenganur and 2,000 kilograms of organic vegetables to the relief camps in Nilambur. In addition to this, an amount of rupees 1 lakh was donated to the CMDRF from the profit gained. As part of integrated farming, about 1,000 hens and goats are also being reared in the Jaivagrama. People can get eggs at a reasonable rate from this center. During the COVID-19 pandemic lockdown period, 2,000 eggs were supplied free of cost to community kitchens. Accepting the agricultural challenge of the Chief Minister of Kerala for the post-COVID period, Nedumangad Block Panchayat has started agricultural activities in all the 5 Gram Panchayat areas under the Block Panchayat. 20,000 vegetable saplings have been distributed as part of this, and activities are in progress to extend the organic farming to an additional 12 acres of land. Nearly 4 lakhs of vegetable saplings have been distributed as part of this, and 10 lakh more would be distributed in the coming days. Nedumangad Block Panchayat is moving forward with flying colours as a fitting reply to those who write off organic farming as a crazy thought.
Thank you, Madam, the President of Nedumangad Block Panchayat, and also the team, including the ex-Block Panchayat President Sri Biju. Now we move on to Peravur Gram Panchayat in Kannur district. The President Sri P.P. Venugopal will lead, and this is about child-friendly local government. So over to Peravur Gram Panchayat.
Peravur Gram Panchayat കഴിഞ്ഞ കാലയളവിൽ ശിശുസൗഹൃദ പഞ്ചായത്തിനുള്ള ദേശീയ പുരസ്കാരം നേടിയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു പഞ്ചായത്താണ്. ഈ മേഖലയിൽ ശ്രദ്ധയാകർഷിക്കുന്ന പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങളാണ് ഈ പഞ്ചായത്ത് സംഘടിപ്പിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളത്. അതിന്റെ ഫലമായിട്ടാണ് ഈ പുരസ്കാരം പേരാവൂർ ഗ്രാമപഞ്ചായത്തിന് ലഭിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളത്. ഈ മേഖലയിൽ ശിശുസൗഹൃദ പഞ്ചായത്തായി നിലനിർത്തുന്നതിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടുള്ള പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങൾ വീണ്ടും പുതിയ ഭരണസമിതി ഏറ്റെടുക്കുന്നതിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് തീരുമാനിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളത്. പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് കുട്ടികളുടെ കലാകായിക കഴിവുകൾ വർദ്ധിപ്പിക്കുന്നതിന് ആവശ്യമായിട്ടുള്ള നല്ല നിലയിലെ ഇടപെടൽ നടത്തണം എന്നാണ് ഈ ഭരണസമിതി ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നത്.
34.10 ചതുരശ്ര കിലോമീറ്റർ വിസ്തീർണമുള്ള പേരാവൂർ പഞ്ചായത്തില് 2011 സെൻസസ് പ്രകാരം 23,704 ജനങ്ങളാണ് അധിവസിക്കുന്നത്. ഇതിൽ 18 വയസ്സിൽ താഴെയുള്ള 5,540 കുട്ടികൾ നിലവിലുണ്ട്. ബാലസൗഹൃദ പഞ്ചായത്തായിട്ടാണ് പേരാവൂർ പഞ്ചായത്ത് നിലകൊള്ളുന്നത്. വോളിബോൾ ഇതിഹാസ താരം ജിമ്മി ജോർജിന്റെ നാടായതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ സ്പോർട്സ് മേഖലയെ ഫോക്കസ് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടുള്ള പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങളാണ് പഞ്ചായത്ത് പദ്ധതി വെച്ച് നടത്തിക്കൊണ്ടു പോരുന്നത്.
Peravur Grama Panchayat has 16 wards and it covered nearly 35 kilometers of area. There are 5,540 children in the jurisdiction of the Panchayat. The major focus of child-friendly Panchayat includes the child immunization, school dropout, child abuses, drug abuse, children's Gram Sabha and agriculture. The major issues include the lacking interest of sports activities, mobile phone addiction, absenteeism of the tribal children, lacking the physical strength of the children, and the nutritional issues of the children. The child-friendly programs mainly include the Children's Grama Sabha, sports and games coaching, standardized playground, organic farming in the school, various scholarship programs for the disabled children, activities to promote physical fitness of children, and several tribal projects to reduce the absenteeism. As part of this, 24 Anganwadis were changed to child-friendly Anganwadis. Several coachings include the yoga and the martial art were also started. As a result of all these activities, we won the National Award for the Best Child-Friendly Panchayat in the year of 2020.
കിളിയിൽ വെച്ചുള്ള ട്രെയിനിങ് സെഷൻ ഞങ്ങൾ ആദ്യമായി ചെയ്തത് പഞ്ചായത്തിൽ 16 വാർഡിലും കുട്ടികളുടെ ഗ്രാമസഭ ചേരുക എന്നുള്ളതായിരുന്നു. ആ ഗ്രാമസഭയിൽ നിന്നും കുട്ടികളുടെ നേതൃത്വത്തിൽ ഒരുപാട് വിഷയങ്ങൾ ഉരുത്തിരിഞ്ഞു വരുന്നതായി ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് കാണുവാൻ വേണ്ടി സാധിച്ചു. ആധുനിക സാങ്കേതിക വിദ്യയുടെ സഹായത്തോടു കൂടിയുള്ള പരിശീലനങ്ങളുടെ അഭാവം ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് കാണുവാൻ വേണ്ടി സാധിച്ചു. അതോടൊപ്പം കുട്ടികൾ മൊബൈൽ പോലുള്ള വിവര സാങ്കേതിക വിദ്യയിലേക്ക് മാറുന്നതായി ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് മാറുവാൻ വേണ്ടി സാധിച്ചു. കുട്ടികൾ പറയുകയാണ്, ഞങ്ങൾ സ്കൂളുകളിൽ പച്ചക്കറി കൃഷി നടത്തുവാൻ വേണ്ടി ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് അവസരമുണ്ടാക്കി തരണം. അങ്ങനെ കാർഷിക മേഖലയിലേക്ക് ആ കുട്ടികളെ തിരിച്ചു കൊണ്ടുവരുവാനും അവിടെ കൃഷി ചെയ്ത ഫലം ഉപയോഗിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് ഉച്ചഭക്ഷണത്തിൽ ചോറിന് കറിയായി കൊടുക്കുന്നതിന് വേണ്ടിയുള്ള അവസരം ഉണ്ടാക്കണമെന്ന് കുട്ടികൾ പറയുകയാണ്. ഞങ്ങളുടെ അംഗൻവാടികൾക്ക് മികച്ച രീതിയിൽ ബിൽഡിങ്ങുകൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കണമെന്ന നിർദ്ദേശങ്ങൾ വരികയാണ്. ഇത്തരത്തിൽ നിർദ്ദേശങ്ങൾ വന്നതിന്റെ അടിസ്ഥാനത്തിലാണ് ഞങ്ങൾ വീണ്ടും കുട്ടികൾക്ക് വേണ്ടി പ്രൊജക്ടുകൾ തയ്യാറാക്കുവാൻ വേണ്ടി തീരുമാനിച്ചത്.
The hospital child-friendly ward. The children's ward at the Taluk Hospital has been converted into a child-friendly ward with baby-friendly painting, playground and all other facilities. This facility was set up free of cost by the family and friends of Dr. Deepak, who is the victim of Nepal earthquake. Pediatric vaccination is 100% completed. Pregnant women are able to receive monthly checkups and complete the vaccination in a timely manner from the time of their birth to 15 years of age. BPL cards are getting maternity benefits, and also the children below the age of 18 are being provided the medical facilities include the medicines from outside the medical store. As part of the project Drug Free Panchayat, a proclamation rally was organized in the town under the auspices of the Peravur Panchayat. Seminar and quiz competitions were also organized as part of this in the schools for the children. Under the auspices of Peravur Panchayat, organic vegetable cultivations were started in all the schools under the Panchayat. The vegetables required for lunch were started in the respective schools. Water Bell Program. This enabled the children of Peravur Panchayat in their schools to alleviate their fatigue, alleviate their ailments and help the children to stay in class with enthusiasm. Each child brings boiled water from home on their own steel bottles and makes sure that all the children drink bottled water by the time. The bell rings 4 times a day and they have finished drinking all the water by the evening. Every year, the Panchayat conducts volleyball training for the children. The training is being led by Sebastian sir, a great volleyball player. We could find a lot of athletes in this area. While coaching these kids in a way, this will ensure their future is secure. There are also kids who stayed in the academy. Having the best coaches increases the likelihood of this activity. The governing body of the Panchayat has been conducting football training since its inception. The children are being trained from the Kunitala school grounds under the leadership of the Red Star Club by a teacher from the same school. About 125 children are participating in the training, which will be held from 6 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. The Panchayat is providing the facilities they need as part of the project. Many children benefit from this as they strive to increase their mental and physical abilities. The academy was inaugurated by our health minister Shailaja teacher, and many children are mastering this martial art. They are a role model for every child who clings to information technology at home, such as mobile, while helping their children to develop their flexibility and build a healthy body and thereby develop their intelligence. The institution provides all the necessary assistance to these children to cope with these activities through a regular lifestyle. many children, including boys and girls, acquire all the skills to defend themselves. Then they became its trainers. We were assisted in organizing this project under the leadership of Ramesan sir, the fire force staff of Peravur Panchayat itself. This project was implemented as part of the realization that swimming is necessary and inevitable for the children. Physical fitness training. The boys' training will be held free of cost at the Jimmy George Stadium from 6:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. About 200 children have been trained. The project called Tudikotte is introduced for the prevention of dropouts in the tribal settings of Peravur Panchayat. The teachers were allotted for the whole tribal colonies and they have the duty to teach the tribal students from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. They are also giving the special assistance to the children who are marginalized in the society. They are also assure the whole process of schooling, including the transportation and the food facilities. Through this project, we could reduce the school dropout of the tribal children.
ഇങ്ങനെ കുട്ടികളെ ചേർത്ത് നിർത്തി പരിശീലനം നൽകിയതിന്റെ ഭാഗമായിട്ട് ഞങ്ങളുടെ പ്രവർത്തനത്തിന്റെ എല്ലാം മികവിന്റെ അടിസ്ഥാനത്തിൽ മധ്യപ്രദേശിൽ ഗ്വാളിയറിൽ വെച്ച് ബാലസൗഹൃദ ദേശീയ ശില്പശാല നടന്നപ്പോൾ ആ ശില്പശാലയിൽ കേരളത്തെ പ്രതിനിധീകരിച്ച് 2 ആളുകൾ പങ്കെടുത്തപ്പോൾ അതിൽ ഒരാളായി പേരാവൂർ പഞ്ചായത്ത് നടപ്പിലാക്കിയ പ്രൊജക്ടുകൾ രാജ്യത്തിന് തന്നെ മാതൃകയാവുന്ന രീതിയിൽ അവതരിപ്പിക്കുവാൻ വേണ്ടി ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് സാധിക്കുകയുണ്ടായി. അങ്ങനെ ഞങ്ങൾ പ്രവർത്തനം നടത്തുമ്പോൾ ആ പ്രവർത്തനത്തിന്റെ മികവ് കണ്ടെത്തിയതുകൊണ്ടാകാം 2020 മികച്ച ബാലസൗഹൃദ പഞ്ചായത്ത് എന്ന അവാർഡും പേരാവൂർ പഞ്ചായത്തിനെ തന്നെ തേടിയെത്തുകയുണ്ടായി. ഈ കോവിഡ് കാലത്തും പേരാവൂർ പഞ്ചായത്തിലെ കുട്ടികൾ വിശ്രമമില്ലാതെ തിരക്കിലായിരുന്നു. അവർക്ക് ഓൺലൈൻ സർഗോത്സവത്തിലൂടെ വിവിധ തരത്തിലുള്ള പരിപാടികൾ നടത്തിക്കൊണ്ട് 18 വയസ്സിൽ താഴെയുള്ള മുഴുവൻ കുട്ടികളെയും അതിൽ പങ്കാളികളായിട്ടുള്ള പ്രവർത്തനം നടത്തിയപ്പോൾ ഞങ്ങൾ പേരാവൂർ പഞ്ചായത്ത് ഭരണസമിതിയും ചാരിതാർത്ഥ്യമാണ് ഇക്കാര്യത്തിൽ ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇതിന് അവസരം നൽകിയത്. കിലയിൽ വെച്ച് ട്രെയിനിങ് നൽകിയപ്പോൾ പദ്ധതിയുടെ 5% തുകയും കുട്ടികൾക്ക് വേണ്ടി ചെലവഴിക്കണമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ അത് അക്ഷരാർത്ഥത്തിൽ നടപ്പിലാക്കിക്കൊണ്ടു പോകുവാൻ വേണ്ടി ഞങ്ങളെ സഹായിച്ചത് കിലയിൽ നിന്നും ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് കിട്ടിയ ട്രെയിനിങ് ആണ്. ഈ ട്രെയിനിങ്ങിൽ ഞങ്ങളെ സഹായിച്ച ഞങ്ങളുടെ മെന്റർ RP ശാന്തമ്മ ടീച്ചർ, കില ഡയറക്ടർ, കിലയിലെ മറ്റ് ഭാരവാഹികള്, മുഴുവൻ ആളുകൾക്കും ഞങ്ങളുടെ നന്ദിയും കടപ്പാടും അറിയിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് നിർത്തുന്നു. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഏവർക്കും എൻ്റെ അഭിവാദനങ്ങൾ.
Thank you, Peravur, the Sri P.P. Venugopalan, the present president, as well as the former president, for being with us and presenting their experiences on child-friendly local governance. Now we move towards Mulanduruthi Gram Panchayat in Ernakulam district, and the president, Srimati Mariama Benny, is here with us. And also the vice president, who was the former president in the previous regime. So they are talking about elderly friendly local governance. And over to Mulanduruthi Gram Panchayat of the Ernakulam district. Over to
I, Mariama Benny, president of Mulanduruthi Gram Panchayat, would like to say few words about old age friendly Gram Panchayat. The concept is completed for providing care, protection and welfare of senior citizens. It aims for the healthcare, nutrition, shelter and welfare, financial security, protection of life and property of senior citizens, instructions for the old age. As welfare of old age is the aim, several organizations are working for the welfare of the senior citizens. Some of them are Community Health Center, Public Health Center, Palliative Care Unit, Ayurveda Dispensary, Homeo Dispensary, 3G Anganwadi, Pagal Veed, etc. Now I would like to invite former Panchayat President or the present Vice President to share a few words. Thank you.
I, Renji Kurian Golinal, Vice President of Mulanduruthi Gram Panchayat, would like to share few words in this topic. According to 2015 and 16, survey details of Molundurthi Grama Panchayat, we have a total old age population of 5,200 people. It includes 2,470 males and 2,730 females. The Panchayat has constituted old age neighborhood groups. In each wards of Panchayat, we have 117 old age working groups in Panchayat area. They conduct weekly meetings under the leadership of Kudumbasri. Panchayat also provide the service of palliative care units under the monitoring of public health center. It ensure improved healthcare facilities to the needed at doorstep. Public health center provide inpatient treatment facilities. 24 hours ambulance service, etc. A project named the Alive is implemented by medical officer of PHC. The aim of project is to give free dialysis for old age peoples. They also provide free orthopedic service to old age twice week. Ayurveda dispensary of Gram Panchayat. Conduct yoga classes for the elderly. Now I would like to share few details about prestigious projects of our Gram Panchayat named 3-Generation Anganwadi. This project is implemented by ICDS supervisor of Gram Panchayat. This model institution will function as daycare centers for infants below the age of 1 year, along with adults the age group of 15 to 45 years will get their service. For those who are above aged 60, Anganwadi will function as Swandana Bhavanam Care Center. 3-Generation Anganwadi will try to find solution for mental and social problems faced by women, from teenagers to elderly. The service of a trained gender counselor is provided there. Awareness classes and coaching for competitive exams will be organized for your youngsters. Legal aid will also be provided in case of any dispute regarding their assets. There will be internet facility and a television in the Anganwadi. Service of good nutritional care and preschool education are given to age group of 3 years to 6 years by trained teachers. There are chances to make arrangement for children and the elderly to mingle with each other. Kids will have a lot to learn from the elderly. The Anganwadi will function from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Timely food and refreshment is arranged. The aim of the project is to ensure well-being of all age groups. Thank you.
Some projects of the Grama Panchayat focusing the well-being of old age are: first one, Hridaya Roti. Aim of this project is to assess lifestyle diseases among elderly, improve awareness among them, and ensure well-being. Implementation of the project: train ASHA workers from health department, conduct survey in Panchayat area. As a first step, during the survey, they identify elderly people who are suffering from diabetes and hypertension. Subsequently, booklets are distributed for the awareness of lifestyle diseases. Finally, identified patients are referred to specialists at PHC. The other one is Sneha Sanjeevani. Aim of this project is to check the blood sugar levels at the residence itself, thus avoiding unnecessary travel for the elderly. Beneficiaries of the project are old age, people who are economically backward in the Panchayat area. Implementation of the project is done through ASHA workers and Anganwadi workers. They conduct house visits for counseling. elderly people and distribute glucometers.
Another project ensuring welfare of elderly is Bed Code for Old Age. The aim of the project is to distribute wooden bed code for senior citizens in Panchayat area. Beneficiaries of the project is selected from applications from Grama Sabhas. Panchayat committee thus approves the list. The priority criteria of the project is economically backward families, widows, unmarried women, bedridden patients, etc. This project is implemented by ICDS Supervisor of Grama Panchayat. The total cost of the project is 12 lakhs. 250 bed codes were distributed to the beneficiaries during the time of this project.
The next aspect of our Grama Panchayat is the Pagal Veeda. Pagal Veeda is an effective system to empower and motivate the elderly to see their life in a different perspective. With the advent of old age, most of the people faces a feeling of loneliness, discrimination, abandonment, and helplessness. The older people become more vulnerable to physical disabilities as a result of social, economic, and emotional alienation and isolation. Here, senior people are engaged in various activities related to agriculture, horticulture, crafting, cover making, and similar jobs which will not demand strong mind or body presence, but easy and relaxing. Being lonely in a house may give them stress and pain, but being in a homogeneous group will enable them to identify their presence in the world as worthy individuals, and it will empower them to achieve strong mental and physical balance. Good communication and active interaction with the same group of people will fill them with active energy, and it will make them stronger. They are getting more social exposure through Pagal Veeda. Pagal Veeda of Grama Panchayat working in Ward 6. All the facilities for their well-being is arranged here. Separate vehicles for picking up and dropping them are also arranged. Many can identify their past hobbies and hidden talents at Pagal Veeda and can start a happy life with a new meaning. Next is about our prestigious project, as Vice President said in his keynote address, 3G Anganwadi. This model institution will function as daycare centers for infants below the age of 1 year, besides kids in the age group of 2 to 6 years and women in the age group of 15 to 45 years will get their service. For those who are above age 60, Anganwadi will function as Bhavanam, the care center. 3G Anganwadi will try to find solutions for mental and social problems faced by women from teenagers to elderly. The service of a trained gender resource counselor is provided here. Awareness classes and coaching for competitive exams will be organized for youngsters. Legal aid will also be provided in case of any dispute regarding their assets. There will be internet facility and television in the Anganwadi. There are chances to make arrangements for children and the elderly to mingle with each other. Kids will have a lot to learn from the elderly, while the mingling will improve the mood also. The Anganwadi will function from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Timely food and refreshment is provided here. The aim of this concept is to ensure well-being of the elderly. Morandathi Grama Panchayat ensure old age friendly in all respects. Public roads, hospitals, Panchayat office, government offices ensure the welfare and comfort of the elderly.
Thank you, Mulandurthi Grama Panchayat, the president and the vice president and the team. Now we move on to another innovative initiative from Pilikod Grama Panchayat, and we have the present president, Srimati P.P. Prasanna Kumari, and the team to present on a filament-free panchayat. Let's hear from them. Over to Pilikod.
Pilikod village, the southern end of Kasaragod district, shares its border with Kayyur Chimeni and Karivalur Panchayat in east, Padne in west, Cherottur in north, and Karivalur and Tukarpur villages in south. 25,122 people spent harmonious life here in its 26.77 square kilometers area. The village is blessed with the presence of historical monuments like megalithical burial monuments, old arena, mini cow, and temples. It's a land of cultural integration with Theyyam, Purakali, and other folk and commercial arts. It's also glorified with the first regional agriculture research station for coconut in India, established in 1916, and the birth of legends like T.S. Thirumum, the great devotional poet and freedom fighter.
Sampurna Saksharata Yajnam, Panchayatile 2030
Sampurna Saksharata Yajnam and other plans drawn by the people are its remarkable qualities. The Panchayat could bag the first Nirmal Puraskar Award in India for the construction of neat lavatories for 2030 families.
We have great pleasure to share the novel experiences of Urjayanam, the People's Energy Conservation Program of Pelikode Grama Panchayat. Increasing consumption of energy resources, especially electricity, made us to launch this program. The increasing use of energy creates great damage to our environment too. The main objectives of the program are to create an awareness among the society about the conservation of energy. Second one is to make energy conservation an individual concern to social concern, and thereby to reduce the consumption of energy. The next one is make technical skills such as meter reading and other skills related to energy conservation made popular among the people and put them into practice so that we can reduce the consumption of electricity and other energies. Third one is reduction of energy consumption at a domestic level by participating women in this program so that we can reduce and control the use of energy at large. People should be selective in buying energy efficient equipments rather than the price tags. The main objective of Urjayanam is to save the environment from the hazards of overuse of energy resources. Finally, Pelikode Gram Panchayat aims at the protection of environment, such as now we are facing climate change, global warming, and it creates a great challenge to the community. And through energy conservation, we could save the environment. These are the main objectives of the Urjayanam People's Project. Ultimately, we tried to enlighten the whole community by exposing them to various options of energy saving methods and make Pelikode an incandescent bulb-free, energy efficient local body.
Urjayan, the major footsteps. Pelikode Gram Panchayat formally decided to conduct a people's campaign to conserve energy by the name Urjayan. We sought the help of Energy Management Center Kerala, which is India's best designated agency for the implementation of the project. They rendered the wholehearted support and leadership. A formal discussion between EMC personnel and the Panchayat were held and the methodology of the project was finalized. Urja and People's Committees are formed at various levels. Here are the organizational setup. 50 selected volunteers were given 2 days intensive training at EMC Thiruvananthapuram, which boosted their spirit. Second phase training for the 100 volunteers was also held at Panchayat level. Formation of neighborhood groups comprising 50 to 70 households and awareness building classes at grassroots level. For the sake of intensive house survey, 651 volunteers were trained. Women participation was specially ensured. These volunteers conducted repeated house visits, distributing pamphlets and dummy survey formats. The dummy formats were a tool to self-educate the inmates. Meeting at school levels, Kudumbashri, Residents Association, Merchants Association, political parties, and social workers were also done. At neighborhood level, meter reading training too were conducted. Special Urja and Gram Sabha were organized with the whole participation, which made people a new awareness of the need of energy conservation and its benefits. Urja and People Survey was carried out from 16th to 26th January of 2017.
കേരളത്തിൽ എല്ലാ പഞ്ചായത്തുകളിലും തന്നെ ഇത് പ്രാവർത്തികമാക്കാൻ കഴിയുന്നതാണ് എന്നാണ് ഒരു മാതൃകാപരമായ പ്രവർത്തനമാണ് ഇതുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട് എനർജി മാനേജ്മെന്റാണ് ഇതിന് നേതൃത്വം കൊടുക്കുന്നത്. വൈദ്യുതി ഉപയോഗം കുറയ്ക്കും, അതിൽ കൂടി ഉപഭോക്താക്കൾക്ക് ലാഭം ഉണ്ടാവും, രാജ്യത്തിന് നേട്ടമുണ്ടാവും. വൈദ്യുതി പാഴാകാതെ പരമാവധി ലാഭിക്കുന്നത് സംസ്ഥാന ഗവൺമെന്റിന് വൈദ്യുതിയുടെ ലാഭകരമാണ് എന്ന സ്ഥിതി.
Survey consolidation and result declaration was followed. Based on the survey, we could find real number of filament bulbs and other inefficient electrical appliances were to be replaced with LED bulbs and star-rated equipments. A WhatsApp group is formed and an app for calculating the energy usage in each house is forwarded to it. Quit ICL and replace energy inefficient gadget campaign. People came forward themselves to replace ICL with LED bulbs. EMC provided 36,000 LED lamps and 1,000 star-rated fans at subsidized rate. All street lights were converted into LED. About 50,000 ICL were voluntarily replaced. EMC and Bureau of Energy Efficiency extended financial and technical support throughout the program. EMC and KSCB conducted institutional audit. 116 Urja neighborhood committees conducted constant auditing. Pilikod Gram Panchayat was honored with Kerala State Energy Conservation Award for 2016-17. Neighborhood groups, wards, and Panchayat level committees declared filament free levels. KSCB certified that through this project, during the month of March 2017, the bi-monthly electricity consumption was reduced by 1,06,284 units, which amounts about 4 lakhs rupees. Moreover, this project resulted in minimizing the carbon emission and its answer to the global warming and climate change. Meanwhile, all government offices and schools under the Panchayat were urged to designate the energy manager in the respective offices to have constant monitoring of energy consumption. EMC had provided LED tubes and star-rated fans to all offices and schools and declared them energy-efficient green offices. NHG, ward, and Panchayat level energy committees announced their respective levels as filament-free areas. This was done after strict scrutiny and authentication. On 12th of April 2018, Honorable Chief Minister of Kerala, Shri Pinarayi Vijayan, declared Pilikod Gram Panchayat as India's first filament bulb-free panchayat.
അഭിമാനപൂർവ്വം പിലിക്കോട് പഞ്ചായത്തിനെ രാജ്യത്തെ ആദ്യത്തെ ഫിലമെന്റ് ബൾബ് രഹിത പഞ്ചായത്തായി പ്രഖ്യാപിക്കുന്നു. രാജ്യത്തിനാകെ മാതൃകയാക്കാൻ തന്നെയാണ് സർക്കാർ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്.
Thank you, Pilikod Grama Panchayat, the president, Srimati P.P. Prasanna Kumari, and the former president, Sri Sridharan, and all the team members. And now we move to another important presentation. As you have already heard, in Kerala, all the Grama Panchayats except 2 have already received their ISO certification in their services. And also all the block panchayats have received their ISO certification, and many other levels of local governments and the institutions are moving towards getting ISO certified. So let's hear from the team, especially led by Dr. P.K. Jayasri, the Director of Panchayats, the Local Self-Government Department, we will talk on ISO certification project. Over to Dr. Jayasri and team.
Warm greetings. From the part of the Local Self-Government Department, it is a very major achievement because this has been a prestigious project of the state government. The granting of this ISO certification has indeed created a positive quality wave among the officers of the local self-government institutions of the state. This had been a 2-year-long rigorous approach based on the PDCA cycle. That is, plan, do, check, and act. That is the PDCA cycle. Planning the operations needed for the office, doing it, checking the effects of the actions, and then acting as per the changes needed. This cycle and the risk-based thinking, all this aimed at improving the quality of the delivery of products and services to the citizens, that is the customers here. Several initiatives of standardization within the purview of this ISO certification included creating and implementing a uniformity in the structure of quality management in these government offices, alignment of the documentation followed in these offices, enabling the office to plan its process and interaction, and also see that opportunities for improvement are determined and acted upon by the organization at the appropriate time. This certification has greatly improved the performance of the grassroots level LSGI officers, that is the Grama Panchayats, who are directly involved with the public, general public. Any improvement in the predictability of services delivered to a customer or a public has indeed a positive impact in meeting the service rights of the citizen. The involvement of KILA as the nodal agency in advising and helping the Panchayat department and its officers to achieve the specified requirements for the ISO certification has created a focused approach among the officers and officers in the process. The local self-government institutions with the ISO certification now has the ability to consistently provide products and services as per the statutory and regulatory requirements without any delay. It is now the endeavor of the department to sustain and improve upon the ISO standards.
ISO 9001-2015 certification of local self-government institutions is one of the prestigious projects of the Government of Kerala. It is to standardize and certify the quality management system in these institutions. ISO 9001 is the international certification for quality management systems of an organization. It may be probably the first in the history that a department in India has attained ISO certification. To ensure uniformity and effectiveness of the quality management system implemented in Gram Panchayats, KILA was entrusted with providing the consultancy support, and TQ Services was selected for the auditing services. This project is rooted in the concept of total quality management. The major thrust areas included front office management, record management, improving working environment and overall infrastructure facilities, and thereby ensuring quality services. ISO certification of Gram Panchayats under KILA Consultancy was initiated on May 2018. By the end of January 2020, all Gram Panchayats achieved ISO certification. 5 district-level offices of Deputy Director of Panchayats, all block panchayats, 7 district panchayats, and state-level Panchayat Directorate Office have also achieved ISO certification by this time. The changes in front office, record management, overall infrastructure, and working environment, along with positive changes in attitude of employees, are much appreciated, which has been reflected in overall citizen satisfaction levels.
ഗ്രാമപഞ്ചായത്ത് അസോസിയേഷന്റെ സംസ്ഥാന പ്രസിഡന്റ് എന്നുള്ള നിലയിൽ ISO സർട്ടിഫിക്കേഷന് വേണ്ടി പഞ്ചായത്തുകൾ ശ്രമിക്കുമ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ എന്നും അവർക്ക് പ്രോത്സാഹനം കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും നമ്മളത് ആ അംഗീകാരം നേടിയെടുക്കണം. ഓരോ ഘട്ടത്തിലും നമ്മൾ ഇടപെടാനും ശ്രമിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട് എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. 2018 മെയ് മാസത്തിലാണ് കില ഈ ഒരു പ്രവർത്തനത്തിന് തദ്ദേശ സ്വയംഭരണ സ്ഥാപനങ്ങൾക്ക് പരിശീലിപ്പിക്കാനും അതിനുള്ള നേതൃത്വപരമായ പങ്കേറ്റെടുത്ത് രംഗത്ത് വരുന്നത്. അതിനുശേഷം അവർ നൽകിയിട്ടുള്ള പരിശീലനങ്ങൾ ഉദ്യോഗസ്ഥർക്കാണെങ്കിലും ജനപ്രതിനിധികൾക്കാണെങ്കിലും കിലയിൽ വെച്ചും ഓഫീസിൽ വന്നും ഒക്കെ നിരന്തരമായ കിലയുടെ ഇടപെടലുകളാണ് യഥാർത്ഥത്തിൽ ഈ നല്ല ഒരു അഭിമാനകരമായ നേട്ടം കൈവരിക്കാൻ നമ്മെ സഹായിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളത്. 2020 ജനുവരി ആയപ്പോഴേക്കും കേരളത്തിലെ 939 പഞ്ചായത്തും ISO നേടി എന്നുള്ളത് ചെറിയൊരു കാര്യമല്ല, വളരെ വലിയ കാര്യം തന്നെയാണ്. 2 പഞ്ചായത്ത് തലവടിയും എടമലക്കുടിയുമാണ് ഇന്ന് ആ ഒരു സർട്ടിഫിക്കേഷനിൽ എത്താത്തത്. അത് പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് കാര്യങ്ങളുണ്ട്. ഓരോ പ്രദേശത്തും ജനങ്ങൾക്ക് നൽകേണ്ട സേവനങ്ങളെ കൂടുതൽ രാജ്യാന്തര നിലവാരത്തിലേക്ക് നൽകുന്നതിന് സാധിക്കുന്നു എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ അതിൻ്റെ ഗുണമനുഭവിക്കുന്നത് നമ്മുടെ സാധാരണ ജനത തന്നെയാണ്. പഞ്ചായത്തിൽ വരുന്ന ഓരോരുത്തർക്കും അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു മികവ് ബോധ്യപ്പെടുന്നുണ്ട് എന്നുള്ളതിനും യാതൊരു സംശയവുമില്ല.
The journey of implementing quality management system was not so easy for Gram Panchayats. Being an office frequently accessed by public, their activities like record sorting, setting, etc. were done during holidays and after working hours. The commitment of elected representatives and employees towards this project was so remarkable. Though natural calamities like flood and COVID pandemics shifted their focus to disaster management activities that couldn't stop their enthusiasm implementing quality management system. The changes created through this project is visible in these offices. The changes are remarkable and well appreciated by the general public.
ഞാൻ ആർ സുഭാഷ്, ബ്ലോക്ക് പഞ്ചായത്ത് അസോസിയേഷൻ സംസ്ഥാന പ്രസിഡന്റ്. കേരളത്തിലെ 152 ബ്ലോക്ക് പഞ്ചായത്തുകൾക്ക് ISO പദവി നേടാൻ കഴിഞ്ഞു. 2019 നമ്മൾ നടത്തിയ ഒരു വലിയ പരിശ്രമമാണ് കേരളത്തിലെ മുഴുവൻ ബ്ലോക്ക് പഞ്ചായത്തുകൾക്കും ISO സർട്ടിഫിക്കേഷൻ നേടാൻ സാധിച്ചത്. ഗുണമേന്മ നയത്തിൻ്റെ ഫലമായി നമ്മുടെ ഓഫീസ് പ്രവർത്തനം കാര്യക്ഷമമാക്കുന്നതിനും സേവനങ്ങൾ കാര്യക്ഷമതയോടുകൂടി ജനങ്ങൾക്ക് ലഭ്യമാക്കുന്നതിനും ഇതുവഴി സാധിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. വളരെ നല്ല നിലയിലുള്ള റെക്കോർഡ് റൂം സജ്ജീകരിക്കുന്നതിനും ഫ്രണ്ട് ഓഫീസ് സംവിധാനം രൂപപ്പെടുത്തുന്നതിനും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ബ്ലോക്ക് പഞ്ചായത്തുകൾ വഴി ജനങ്ങൾക്ക് ലഭ്യമാകേണ്ടുന്ന സേവന പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങൾ വളരെ കാര്യക്ഷമതയോടുകൂടി ലഭ്യമാക്കുന്നതിനും ഇതുവഴി സാധിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്.
Even though front office management system has been developed a decade ago, the ISO 9001 project has significantly improved the performance and aesthetics of the front office management. Emphasis was given to provide high standard facilities for public self-explanatory information boards and effective functioning. Drastic change was visualized in the front office, which was greatly appreciated by general public. The Gram Panchayats in Kerala are local self-governments having 27 mandatory functions, 14 general functions, and 76 sector-wise functions as mandated by the third schedule of Kerala Panchayat Raj Act 1994. Our common people approach the Gram Panchayats more than any other government institutions for various services and redressal of grievances. The Right to Information Act 2005 has promoted transparency and accountability in the working of government institutions. Both the above aspects have made the proper upkeep of records. It is the responsibility of Gram Panchayats to provide all records to citizens as per the RTI Act. In order to reduce the work and the time of providing answers, it is essential to maintain an efficient record management system. Record management began to be accorded the much needed importance with the advent of ISO certification process initiated in Gram Panchayats. Till then, there was no common method adopted for record management in Gram Panchayats. While a few Gram Panchayats did have a working system, it was found that in most cases there was no proper record room, or even if a record room was there, most of records were haphazardly kept outside the record room in boxes and gunny bags with no proper identification or retrieval system. ISO certification of Gram Panchayats was one big milestone in their quality improvement that paved the way for more initiatives. They have set an example for other departments and institutions. Kerala has always been pioneer in introducing policies and schemes that served as model for the nation. Yes, ISO certification project is just the beginning of the quality wave that could trigger tremendous changes in the way government institutions deliver quality services to the citizens in the entire country.
Thank you, Dr. Jayashree and the team, the ISO team. And I think this actually summarizes how the Kerala local governments have been performing over the last 25 years or so, as well as how they plan to move forward. So all the presentations from the local governments are over. Over to the moderator, Dr. K.N. Harilal. Thank you.
Before we move on to the discussion, in which all the participants are free to join, I think we should all thank Dr. Joey and his team from KILA for making this arrangement for presentations from local governments. Because I realized that this was a major, very difficult task. They have picked up 6 model stories, and the 7th one was on ISO certification. Now, all of us know that there are hundreds of local governments with model projects implemented. Now, it's very difficult to choose from among those model stories. I think Dr. Joy would have probably applied the method of random selection, because Dr. Joy and almost all participants can suggest many such model projects which can be selected for such a presentation. So probably he didn't have any choice but to randomly select some panchayats. This certainly represents the kind of work the local governments in Kerala have taken up during the last 5 years. And in fact, there are model stories which can be taken from previous periods also. In any case, a lot of work had gone into this selection of panchayats and model projects. I thank all the team members of KILA for doing this excellent work for the course of this general seminar. Now, the floor is open for discussion. If there are technical announcements regarding this discussion participation, Josephine can make those announcements. Josephine?
Yeah, sir, can hear you. Sir, the participants can raise queries through chat box also, sir. Now, I think chat box is almost empty. So they can go for a direct discussion. We have enough time for discussion. And I think the presidents and the people's representatives are here. They are physically here, so they can give some reply also, sir, on the queries.
Yes. They can unmute and participate, no?
To unmute. Those who are willing to participate in discussion can unmute your audio.
Yeah. Mr. Gangadharan, please. You can unmute and speak, Mr. Gangadharan.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Harilal. The presentation.
Please, TG.
Okay. All the presentations made here are very good. And I have only one proposal to this. This was just a reporting of the events which were taking place in their Gram Panchayats and corporations, etc. But to replicate these experiments in other places, actually we need a lot of information. For example, the sequence of activities which were taking place in these local bodies and the problems they were facing and how they overcame these problems, etc. All these experiences will contribute to better implementation of the projects elsewhere. So my request is KILA should initiate a proper documentation of these success stories with all the required information, maybe as in the form of a document, so that people can refer to that and they can design more improved versions of the projects as reported here. So I don't know how far the local governments are prepared for this, because after the project is implemented, they just go on to next year's programs and projects. So proper documentation has to be made, and it has to be disseminated also. And I think this is an initiative which should be taken care of by KILA and the action research team available in Kila. So this is one proposal I would make. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Professor. Thank you, TG. Very important suggestion. This is one thing that we often tend to overlook, the documentation part. In fact, the government has requested local governments to take up documentation, and they were encouraged to take up projects for documenting the projects they have implemented. Apart from that, of course, Kila can take the initiative of detailed studies and documentation. And in fact, no, we don't need to limit to Kila and government departments. Researchers and universities can also take up studies of individual panchayats, individual local bodies, and individual model projects. In fact, some universities have taken some efforts. The Nedamangad Block Panchayat, in fact, no, it was studied by the Department of Economics of Kerala University. And other universities are also taking initiatives. So what is important is to have very detailed documentation so that others can learn from the experience of successful projects implemented in these panchayats. Maybe we should encourage universities and research scholars by giving fellowships for taking up such studies. Maybe as a part of the SEN fellowship, SEN program announced in the recent budget. Now we can think of bringing in scholars to undertake these studies. So very good suggestion from TG. Thank you. Others can raise their hand, unmute, and participate in the discussion. District planning officers can also join if you are, from district planning officers, if they are keen to make any remark, they can do that. Okay then. So if you don't have, is there anything in the chat box?
Chat has come, sir. On the chat box, one Mr. Balagopalan has raised a question. Sharing of good experiences with fellow local bodies is important. We have to create a functional mechanism for this. It's a message. Okay, there are some more such messages. All those messages are welcome.
They are making good suggestions. Government will have to really take care of those suggestions. And now I think we can thank everybody for participation, for formally making the vote of thanks. I'm inviting Josephine. Josephine.
Okay, okay, sir. Now,
DP would like to. Yeah, Sabu, Sri Sabu, DP of Pathanamthitta can speak.
okay, sir.
Sabu, സംസാരിക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ? There is some problem. So Josephine, you can conclude. You can.
Sir, the host has to unmute. I think they cannot unmute the mic. That is why they are not able to. Okay, then, sir, we'll conclude.
What happened? In fact, from our control room, there should be unmuting.
Yeah.
For the participants to come and make their remarks. Anyway, if that is not working, we'll better conclude. We'll stop.
Okay, sir.
Now it is able to unmute. Now it is able to unmute.
Unmute is available. So if there are.
Yeah, it is possible.
Yeah.
Might be scrolling. Okay.
I would just like to ask a question. Okay, Harlal.
Yeah, please.
I would like to. Yeah. I understand. Kunnamkulam is the only municipality which is meeting all the expenses of the project from the user charges, that is by selling the products, etc. Why? In many places, these types of projects are being done. Why Kunnamkulam is the only municipality which could meet all the expenses from the sales provisions?
Do we have people
No other
to respond? Dr. Joy?
Actually, I mean, it's not only Kunnamkulam, but only thing is that Kunnamkulam has reached a break-even situation. Others are actually moving towards that. That's all. So they are also selling these products and they are making it. In many places, it is given free to the population so that the Subisha Kerala project and all are also happening. That's all. But it is actually the entire model people undertake is this one, where it's also on a commercial basis so that break-even is achieved in lesser time. So that's the situation now. There are other places also moving towards this, but Kunnamkulam started it early. Okay.
Yeah, to make such projects sustainable, we should bring this system.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, there are more participants looking for opportunity to speak. Please unmute. Dr. Devika.
Yeah, I am very interested. I mean, this was an excellent presentation. Thanks to all the presenters. I just want to ask if they can maybe speak, all of them can speak maybe 1 or 2 minutes. If they can speak, say, for 1 or 2 minutes on the major hurdles that they have faced in the path of these achievements. Because if they can give us just a 1 minute understanding of what exactly were the most important hurdles they faced, then I think the first question that Dr. Gangadharan raised might be partially addressed right here.
Yeah. Good
they can talk in Malayalam and then moderator can translate also.
Now let me. No.
Okay.
In fact, no. we have people from Kozhikode Corporation. In fact, they are keen to speak. So from Kozhikode Corporation, can you respond to Dr. Devika's suggestion? And then after that, the Director of Panchayats, Sri Jayasri, Srimati Jayasri can speak after that. Kozhikode.
It's Suresh Rathod here, and energy efficiency consultant for Kozhikode Municipal Corporation on this LED street lighting project. Initial problem which we faced, implementation phase, was like the survey. Actually, this is a very old corporation, Kozhikode Corporation, and we were not exactly knowing what sort of conventional lights are there and how many numbers are there. Actually, corporation has allowed us to conduct a very detailed walkthrough survey, which we have visited each pole manually and conducted a survey in detail. That's how we were able to come to a conclusion that what is a conventional energy consumption which is happening right now. And because KSEB goes on an unmetered billing, actually a tube light for a corporation will cost around 156 rupees and 159 rupees, and replacing with LED and metering that street light will cost us only 31.75 rupees. That's about 80% energy.
Some problem over there. The whole thing got stuck. Josephine, can you hear?
Kozhikode got disconnected, that's all.
Oh, okay.
And more to speak, I think. Amrit, Charles is there. She was raising. Charles, can you join?
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, team. It has been an excellent presentation. Success stories were really good. So hats off to all the people who made it. And as from Amrut, I feel proud to be sitting for this, because we came to know that Kozhikode, what Kozhikode has shown, partly is through Amrut also. That they had shown an escalator footbridge, which was funded by Amrut, and their street lights maybe partly funded by Amrut Reforms Incentive part. So it's been very good. So all other people should also be going in for LED lighting. That's one thing. Second thing, Kundamkulam's waste management presentation was also very good. The whole state is going ahead for waste management schemes now. So every local body, panchayats and urban local bodies, I would suggest that they should go ahead with very clear perspective. And there are some waste to energy projects coming up in the state. Most of them are in PPP mode. So we should be trying more on PPP mode, because if Kundamkulam can work out to be economically viable, we should strive for that for all other panchayats also. Maybe we should go in for a cluster of panchayats, whereby 2 or 3 panchayats together come in for a waste management project. That is something like that is being happening in Palakkad, in Kollam. The DPRs has been submitted, and those DPRs are for the corporation area as well as the surrounding panchayats area. All of them are joining together. So something like that can be thought of. So it should be in PPP mode, I would suggest. In the similar manner, there is a urgent necessity for liquid management, liquid waste management, including grey water management and regenerating our water bodies, because National Green Tribunal has been very strict, and they have said that 21 of our rivers are in a very bad state. So we need to improve on that. So there also we need to work on it, all the local bodies. In fact, the urban department as well as the panchayat directorate has given a format to all the panchayats and urban bodies to fill and give it back, which shows what is the status of every water body. That includes ponds, water streams, the main streams, rivers, lakes, everything in Kerala. So that has been developed along with our participation. So please try, every panchayat, please try to get it done meticulously so that maybe in a month's time we have a clear-cut data of all the water bodies of our state. And under the 15th Finance Commission's grant, I think Kerala has got around 784 crores for water supply and waste management. So we should be able to spend it fruitfully, make comprehensive projects for liquid waste and solid waste, and we should be able to spend it. And basically one more thing that we need to know is the 15th Finance Commission fund is based on achievement. It is not that it is given for 5 years. If we achieve the targets for the first year only, we will get money for the second year. So we need to be very, very fast, timely to execute the works and give the utilization certificates. Already, I think the first.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Charles. Now, if Kozhikode is connected, they can continue and complete the intervention.
Okay.
Kozhikode. And if Kozhikode is not connected, we'll go to the Director of Panchayats about the kind of difficulties they encountered in the initial stages of the implementation of the program, ISO certification. No, I don't think they are there now. Devika, you wanted to add something? Devika.
No. Can you speak? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Now it's clear.
I think if it's difficult, then I suppose maybe not. And I mean, my only suggestion is if you produce a written version of this, that is, if you produce a best practices dossier, then maybe one of the topics for that dossier can be about the concrete obstacles faced and how they were overcome. That would be good.
Yeah.
And I also want to make a comment, it's just a comment. All the success stories seem to be in service delivery, in various forms of service delivery. I'm very glad to see Nedumangad Panchayat, which has made such a dent in such an important initiative in production. But I'm asking Harilal, what is your general impression about successes? Because we seem to be achieving successes I have no dispute on areas that are very vital, but they're services largely. What about production? What about other aspects, especially participation? Other kinds of initiatives that require much greater participation. So what is your take on that?
Yeah, in fact, no, we all agree that the local governments were not doing very well in the area of production kind of sectors, agriculture and industry. And right from the beginning, the track record was quite good in the area of services and welfare, generally. But during the last 5 years, many local governments had proved that they can do good work in the area of production also, particularly in the area of agriculture. And Nedumangad is one of the examples which was selected for presentation here. But there are several other panchayats which have done quite well in the area of agriculture, paddy cultivation, and related value addition also. So there are stories from animal husbandry, milk production, and then vegetable production, and then paddy cultivation. So there are success stories which can be drawn from agriculture and allied areas. But in the area of industry, we may have, but we don't have many. that's an area where we will have to look forward to the newly elected local governments. There are local governments which had sort of collaborated with Kudumbashree and had done well in the area of industry. Some success stories are there, but we need to have more success stories emerging from industry. So I broadly agree with the statements made by Dr. Devika. And if you take all the, there are hundreds of model stories, and if we pick up all these stories, then the proportion of model stories from agriculture and allied sectors and other production areas will be relatively less compared to other areas. But Dr. Joy and his team members would agree that this is not a proper sample of success stories. There are major areas which are not included. For example, palliative care, there are so many such areas where success stories have occurred, and probably we will have to document them properly. And in fact, Kila had done some work already in this area. Kila had arranged some presentations earlier in collaboration with GIFT, and we can in fact think of having more such presentations. But I do agree that more detailed documentation, critical kind of detailed documentation is required, particularly focusing on the kind of challenges they have faced and how they overcame those challenges, because that's very, very important for copying such efforts. In some cases, it will be the good work of the elected samadhis and all. But generally, what are the general kind of conditions which sort of facilitated such success? That's very important. And research unit and local governments in CDS can also take up studies on these success stories. We can sort of think of collaborating with Kila and GIFT on this. Joy is raising his hand. He wanted to add.
Actually,
Sharada madam is also.
Okay, let madam talk and then later I will join.
Yes, thank you. This is only to respond to what Devika had asked with regard to our interventions in the development sector alone. While Dr. Harilal has clarified, I would like to also add that we've got so there have been interventions which cover the basic service sectors, which look at special categories. We saw child and elderly. The interventions on production are primarily in the we do have local governments that have supported market development, that have looked at some value chain based interventions, but they have been finding it difficult because while there are support organizations and individuals with regard to services, when it comes to production, particularly outside primary production, you find that the capability and support is limited, and there is need for greater technical support, understanding ideas. So that has been a challenge that local governments are facing, and there have been, at least at the district and block level, some interventions that have gone to this. You would find, again, there are quite a few local governments that have worked on in the area of natural resource management, some of whom who have looked to technology, combining technology and community engagement. The Cherengir Block Panchayat and its initiative of doing a complete water mapping, groundwater mapping using the support of KESREC and as well as community knowledge was fascinating, actually. So there have been that kind of initiatives as well. There are some who have taken on the difficult issues of looking at violence, abuse, and finding ways and means of tackling that in institutional results. But these are not, again, we cannot say that these are on scale. The ones that are on scale would be the ones that fall within the broad categories of planned interventions that we talk about, which would be in the area of infrastructure. There is a lot happening. In the area of social development, quite a bit is happening. And in the area of product. So if you were to rate this as 1, 2, 3, you would put infrastructure on top, followed very closely by social development, and third by productive sectors. The fact is that compared to what local governments were doing 10 years ago in the area of productive sector, they have actually got their act together much better now. And there are also, they've been exploring new opportunities, have been experimenting with organic farming. They've also been experimenting with branding of produce. They've been looking at GIS-based production, geographical indicators as well. So there have been those kind of interventions too that have happened. But a lot more needs to be done. We are trying to see whether we could move away from projects into outcomes. So that's going to be something that we grapple with over time. Yeah, thanks.
Joy, Dr. Joy.
Okay, a couple of responses. One, of course, this is only a very small sample, I would say, within the 1 hour limitation we have. So naturally, it is also very short for them. And also a lot of other limitations are also there, but it's only a representative of what we have. As Dr. Halal said, a lot of such initiatives are there. Second, with regard to the documentation, which Dr. Devige had suggested, we are already into that, where many such thematic areas are selected, and at least 10 to 15 such initiatives are documented. That again considers the background, the baseline, the limitations, the struggles, the problems they faced, and where they are, and what they need to do. Kind of such documentation is happening. And on the other hand, we also had a series of video documentation of many of these initiatives, but all brief and crisp, not an evaluative kind of framework. But the documentation which I said now is mainly a little bit of analysis also is there. So that's what is in store for all of us. So that is happening, but it takes time, especially because the elections, the COVID, and all kinds of things actually prevents us from moving fast. That's all. But we will also come to Dr. Devige and others also for further suggestions and how to make it better. Thank you.
In fact, no, we were planning to have block level and district level seminars on success stories, successful projects, and then we wanted to aggregate those things at the state level on different themes. But because of COVID, we had to forgo those plans. Anyway, shall we now conclude, or are we having more people to participate in the discussions? Chief Engineer wanted to say something. Chief Engineer. Otherwise, we'll. Josephine, you can start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Respected moderator and dear all, the young and ambitious state of Kerala, with its predominant vision of human development through decentralized and participatory governance, has made remarkable progress in recent years. Now, the session has showcased the best practices as a guide to all local governments and even developing economies. I take this opportunity to thank Mr. A.C. Moideen, Honorable Minister of LSTD, who delivered the opening remarks and set the course of this session. On behalf of State Planning Board, we acknowledge our gratitude to the efforts of all local bodies for the best practices in various fields of sustainable development. The topics covered here envisage the holistic development of the society, that is energy conservation, waste management, creation of child and elderly friendly neighborhoods, organic farming, etc. These are the major indicators of a sustainable inclusive model of development. And the notable interference of Kudumbashree in bringing women in the forefront of all development activities is commendable also. The women leadership in local bodies which initiates model projects is also exemplary. And I extend my warm regards and gratitude to Dr. Veena Philip, Mayor Kozhikode Corporation, Mrs. Sita Ravindran, Chairman, Kundamkulam Municipality, V. Ambali, President, Nedumangad Grama Panchayat, Mr. Biju, former President, Nedumangad Grama Panchayat, PP Venugopalan, President, Peravur Grama Panchayat, Srimati Mariamma Benny, President, Mulanturuthi Grama Panchayat, Srimati PP Prasanna Kumari, President, Pilikode Grama Panchayat, Dr. P.K. Jayashree, Director of Panchayats, and SPB Kerala State Planning Board extends our gratitude and appreciation to KILA for organizing the session on model projects and treating the session with visual aid. I also express my sincere thanks to Dr. Joy Elaman, Director KILA, for the thoughtful welcome address. I now take this opportunity to thank Professor K.N. Harilal, member of Kerala State Planning Board, who is one of the architects behind the conclave, for his insightful address and for moderating the session. And I also thank our Additional Chief Secretary, Sharda G. Muralidharan IAS, Dr. Devika, Dr. Mr. Gangadharan, and Mr. Charles, who initiated a creative discussion for this session. And we would like to acknowledge our gratitude to all the delegates, officers, and participants, both in the Zoom platform and YouTube, Facebook platforms, for making this session intriguing and inspiring. Thank you all. Sir Harilal, sir. Sir, boy. പിന്നെ നമ്മുടെ ഇത്